I have to
course.
say that I listened to your album, and it sounded to me like it was coming from another planet.
Oh, amazing. That's such a huge compliment.
Oh, good. I'm glad you take it that way. It was meant to be,
Yeah.
but it was like
Yeah.
something I'd never heard before, and I thought I'd heard. As you can see, I have a pretty big record collection, so I thought I heard everything.
I can't, that's all vinyl, yeah?
I am afraid so.
Yeah. That's incredible. Is it is it alphabetized?
Of course. Otherwise, I'd never find anything.
No, how would you? Yeah, that's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you in the world at the moment?
I'm in Silicon Valley.
Okay. And you're from Hamilton, right?
I'm from Hamilton, yeah.
We have a Hamilton here in New Zealand.
Originally.
It's just south of Auckland, and it's not thought very well of.
Okay. Is it, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with your Hamilton?
It's Hamilton. It's kind of bland and kind of average, not very interesting. But of course, that's where all the interesting people come from. It's from environments like that. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So Hamilton, Ontario has a similar bad rap. They call it the armpit of Ontario.
There you go. It's like New Jersey in the States. Very good. Well, I moved here from Rochester, New York, so it's not that I've been through Hamilton many times.
Amazing. I've been to Rochester many a time too. Yeah.
What were you doing?
Yeah. Well, my dad really liked going to the States to get like all like the diet food that was there, because like before, I guess in the 90s it was just like all the like low sodium, like no fat. We didn't have as much of that in Canada for whatever reason, and so we'd like go on these shopping trips to like Tonawanda to like go to Tops Friendly Market.
Right. I haven't heard these names.
We went
because I've lived here. I moved here in '94, so I haven't heard Tonawanda and Tops Friendly Markets in years. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and Rochester we went because my dad got a couple synths repaired there. Actually, there was a really great guy who worked for Moog who repaired my dad's Poly Moog.
Oh,
there.
right.
So we went to Rochester to like drop it off, pick it up, stop at Tops Friendly Market on the way.
As you do. Well, I can't imagine you'd go to Rochester for the health food, since it's the home of the garbage plate.
What's the garbage plate?
There's a place called Nick Tahoe's. It's kind of a late night dive right in the middle of the city. And especially if you're kind of into rock and roll and stuff, and you're out late and you've been drinking heavily and you show up at 3 a.m., you have a garbage plate, and it basically looks like it's just like beans and sausage and whatever they got laying around. They stick it on your plate and you eat it. And it's become world famous.
Wow. I have to look into that more. I never heard of that. That's quite the name.
You need to make this scene, yeah. I've had one and I survived.
Gotcha.
So, yes, getting back to your music.
Yeah.
All the time. This is your third album, but it's the first one since 2016. And in that period, you've kind of moved around a bit. So tell me a little bit of the background of making the record.
Yeah. In 2017, I moved to New York, which was great for a lot of reasons. But then I also kind of underestimated how homesick I would be for Hamilton. And I think coming to terms with that really sparked writing this album. Just like what is homesickness when you're in your 30s, and like what it's a weird, I mean you can get homesick at any time, but I think I was expecting the move to like change how I was feeling, and then it didn't. I still felt just as shitty as I had before I moved. But writing the album was a great way to deal with a lot of those feelings, and so I put all my energy into it, and it turned out.
And when you write, what is your process like? Do you kind of just sit down and, because like I know Nick Cave, he has like a he gets up at 8 in the morning and sits down with a piece of blank literal paper and writes until like 5 in the evening, and then he stops. But that's not how most people work.
I mean, yeah, that's so dedicated. Yeah, I just try to show up every day. I make like a nice studio space for myself, and I put a lot of time into like making it as comfortable as possible. And then even if I only sit there to like listen to what I did previously, at least I'm there. But yeah, I just try to show up every day, and listening to other music is like a constant inspiration too. So just making sure I'm always listening.
Right. What has been inspiring you lately?
Lately, Kate Envy's new record, Room for the Moon. I don't know if she's an artist from Moscow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's really great.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you should. It's a great record. Another Canadian person, Carolise Coverdale. She's a really great artist that I listen to a lot. Her music's a lot different than mine. It's I know she doesn't like to be described as ambient music, but that's the best way I can.
She's stuck with it.
She makes incredible music that's all sample based, but the way she works with samples is really incredible. You'd have to check it out to really.
Okay, I will. Yep.
Yeah. She has an incredible record called Graphs. That's
okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So that's kind of the building blocks of what you're doing. And so how would you describe what you do? Because like I said, to me, it sounded like it came from outer space. It was something I'd never heard before.
How would I describe what I do?
Yeah.
I love pop music, and I love pop music from the last, from now to like 40 years ago.
Right.
And so I think trying to figure out how did they get those sounds, what synthesizers were they using. I think exploring, trying to kind of figure out what people were doing is a huge inspiration. And I think all that pop music just gets kind of smushed into one of my tracks. It's the best way. But then I also have a co-writer and co-producer, Jeremy Greenspan, who also loves songwriting.
Right.
And loves pop music. And we both love experimenting with equipment. So I think that experimentation with tech and gear is a huge reason why the records sound the way they do, because we both really go to town with that. Yeah.
So you've been working with Jeremy for quite a while, and he's still in Hamilton?
He is, yeah. Yeah.
So how is that working out? It's the long distance thing.
Well, when we were working on all the time, I drove back and forth quite a lot. From New York to Hamilton. It was about like 8 hours or something. So it was fun, really, because I would have sent him something that I was working on, and then when I get to Hamilton, it would be like a surprise. Like, what did he do to the song? I mean, sometimes he would just send it to me, but it was a lot more fun to like go in person, and I think that's part of the reason why it took so long too, to get the record done, is because of the distance. But I love working with Jeremy, and I didn't want to really work with anybody else on the record, so I thought it was worth it if it took a bit longer.
Right. By the time I get to Hamilton, it doesn't quite have the same ring by the time I get to Phoenix, but there you go.
No, it doesn't. But it felt that way. It was always nice to see what he had been up to.
So what is it about the collaboration between you and he that makes it so that you want to make sure that this keeps going on?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've known Jeremy like not my whole life, but for most of it, like since I was 14 or 15. His band, Junior Boys, was like, they were just a huge inspiration for me. Like, their electronic music, not the kind of music that you typically would expect to come out of Hamilton,
Yep. I'm
So
not
I
sure if I
always,
can expect any music to come out of Hamilton. So there you go.
it's a lot more like rock, like, it's known for rock music, I
Right, right.
guess.
Yep.
Um, so the fact that like he was in this band that was so different from anything you would expect to come out of Hamilton, and they toured like internationally, and I loved their music, and
Right.
so yeah, he was like a big mentor for me, and I also just, I don't know, I trust him a lot, and I think when I'm making music, I'm really feel quite vulnerable. So yeah, there's just a lot of trust in there, and I think that familiarity just means a lot to me. I wish I could like, maybe I'll be a bit more risky in the future, but
Hmm.
maybe a comfort thing. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about your recording process is that you do a lot of stuff to your voice.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
wondering why, and how do you do it, and why do you do it?
Yeah, I think it's like, uh, I like experimenting with equipment. I think I'm a bit of a spaz. It's
Right?
hard for me to like leave things alone. I just like really want to pick at stuff. And I think also because the record took so long, Jeremy and I were just like layering stuff and not, I don't know. Yeah, but I think it comes down to like, I just have a lot more fun when I'm,
Right.
running my vocal through something rather than like just being satisfied with a really nice recording.
I see. Okay. And
Yeah,
so, do you do much live performing?
I did.
You did, yeah.
I
Well,
did.
and
I
I'm just wondering
did.
how that
Yeah.
how that works, because I'm an old school guy. I know guitars, bass, and drums, and that's about it. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's the same as you would process like, getting a nice reverb on a snare when
right,
you're
right, right,
touring or whatever. It's just like I travel with a really nice Eventide um, delay unit that get like a really good signal out of it, like nice and loud. And yeah, I just have like a really specific vocal chain that I just like commit to. I don't do any of the pitch shifting stuff when I'm on tour. I just keep it at just
oh,
the
okay,
delay.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. And I know listening to the record, I could hear there's like an R&B influence in there, but I wouldn't call it an R&B
Hmm.
record by any stretch of the imagination. And then I read that you cite kind of Missy Elliott and Timbaland as some influences. And so I'm wondering just kind of what your relationship is to that kind of music.
Yeah, I I think I'm pretty sentimental. So going back to your other question, like why do I work with Jeremy? I think there's something about like me knowing him as a kid, and the
Right.
same with like Missy Elliott. That was just like, just had never heard music like that
Uh-huh.
before, and she was so different. Um, and she was a producer and a rapper. It was just like very new and exciting to me when I was, however old I, like when I was 10, when that record, it just made a huge
Right.
impression on me. So I think I have kind of carried that with me. And I know Timbaland is like, he loves sampling. He's always like chasing that in his
Right.
music. So
Yeah, it's
that
always
was a huge.
interesting that you mentioned, listening to music when you're 10 or 11 and how it stays with you. I know it's the same for me. I listened to horrible music when I was 10 or 11, but I still love
Yeah.
listening to it. It's
Yeah.
like,
What do you have like a favorite? Like if you were to just shout out one.
Gary Puckett and the Union Gap.
Oh wow, Gary Puckett. That's incredible. Okay.
I was obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, that's so sweet though. It's
Well,
it
thank you.
yeah, no, it is. It's like, yeah, I mean, I listened to really bad. I mean, I was obsessed with like Paula Abdul as well when I
There
was
you
like,
go. Yeah. Had some
so
good
there's like,
records, though.
no, she did. I mean, you know, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it does make an impression for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about the making of the video for "Lick in Heaven" because
Yeah.
it's kind of based around kind of a farcical "Good Morning Ontario" type thing. So, whose idea was that, and what was it like? Just what was the process of like making it?
Yeah, it was, so Winston Case directed it,
Uh-huh.
and we were watching like the Ellen show, or
Right.
we had a friend who is in a band, or what was in a band called Savages.
Right.
Um, and they
I
played,
love that band.
I know they're great. Yeah, our friend Nixie plays the bass in Savages. Her
Right.
name's I yeah, anyway, so we were like watching their performance on Ellen, and it's just like, you know what that band is like, and then you know what the Ellen show is like, and we were
Yes.
just thinking like, oh my god, like look at Nixie, she looks so uncomfortable, and so we were just thinking like how uncomfortable that would be to just be in that environment, and then we just thought it would be a fun context to put, because I was, being kind of self-absorbed, I was thinking like, oh my god, I would be so uncomfortable, and then
Yeah, yeah,
Winston
yeah,
thought,
yeah.
well, that would be fun, like let's do that, let's make you uncomfortable, and we'll try to like get that feeling with this video.
And have you had that happen to you in real life? It's
On
similar.
a talk show.
Yeah, or any kind
No.
of environment where you're just like, I'm not sure if I should be here.
Yeah, I've done like a lot of like playing in like hotel
Oh, right, right.
bar
Yeah,
type things where it's like, the management is trying to do something different, but the
right, right.
patrons do not want to listen to your music. They just want to like have a drink and
Yeah.
talk, and yeah. So I've certainly been in that like, why am I here kind of
Right, right.
scenario.
The
Yeah.
ultimate question, I guess.
Yeah, it can apply to a lot of things. Yeah.
uh, let's see. I wanted to touch on a couple of the other tunes on the record here. Um,
Mhm.
Alexander,
Mhm.
can you? It's kind of about loneliness and whatever. I don't know. You tell me what it's about, because
Yeah, it started out as a cover of an Alexander O'Neill song called
okay,
"A Broken Heart Can Mend," but the cover was really not going anywhere, so I just changed the drums and like changed the key, and I turned into Alexander. And yeah, a lot of that song is like me kind of asking myself a question
right,
over and over, like, would you rather be lonely? And I think I was thinking about like, would I rather like be back in Hamilton, or would I rather like be here
hmm.
where I am in New York feeling kind of lost? So um yeah, that's a sad one. That song, but
Sorry about that.
no, it's good. I mean, it's, I feel a lot better now, but
Right.
yeah, when I was writing it, I wasn't feeling so great, but it was fun to learn that Alexander O'Neill song,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And it's followed by a song, at least with a title, it's much more upbeat, Ice Creamy,
Ice creamy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a
which is
weird one
very
too.
dreamy. It seems like, I mean, that was the impression I got from the song.
Yeah, Jeremy had a lot of fun doing weird stuff to the vocals on
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. I think we both really went to town on the vocal effects on that one, but I think it turned out pretty good. Yeah, that's a fun one for sure. Yeah.
Excellent. So, because of everything kind of coming to a crashing halt, have you been writing music and listening to music? What's your kind of vibe been like now in the last couple months? Because it's a weird thing for everybody. Everybody's doing different stuff than they were planning on.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. The past few months have really just been like focusing on how are we going to get this record out in a
Right.
way, how are we going to make videos, um yeah, how are we going to present the record to people without having the shows,
Yep.
because the shows are just such a huge part of the album, obviously, as you know. And but the videos have been fun. We've made them all here, like where I'm living. I think that's why my minivan focuses. We've made a lot of videos in
Oh
and
yeah,
around the
that's right.
van,
Yeah, yeah,
because
that's
it's
cool.
like the prop that we have. So yeah, I've been doing a few remixes and working on music, but yeah, focusing on getting the record out was definitely the main focus
And
these
do you
last
have
few
much
months.
communication with your fans? And who do you think are your fans?
That's a good question. I have been on social media a lot more than I have previously, just because I'm used to being able to connect with people at the shows, but
Sure.
obviously I can't do that. Yeah, I've been doing like YouTube premieres of the videos where you can like chat with people while you're watching the video together. I did like a Twitch stream, like listening party of the record, so we could all listen to it together, and that's like all totally new for
Yeah.
me because I'm not the most comfortable engaging on social media, but you know, it's also important to me to like be able to connect with fans and like what
Yeah.
you know
And
what else.
when you do connect with them, what do you connect over? Do they listen to the lyrics, or is the music the thing that gets to them? What is it that?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, people tell me the most touching things about how the music plays a role in their life. Like, I did a Reddit Ask Me Anything a couple
Yeah,
days
yeah, I
ago,
saw. Yeah,
and one person said like, I have a tradition of on my birthday I play one song at midnight to like set the tone for my year.
right.
And they told me that I'm gonna play your song over and over. That's gonna be like my Around the Sun, starting off like my whatever year. And that was just like so touching.
That's
It's
pretty
just so,
cool.
yeah, it's just so sweet. And so normally, that would only be the sort of thing somebody might tell me at the merch table after a show,
Right,
but I
right.
got a chance to hear it by, doing the Reddit thing, or so. Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure put on somebody. My song is establishing somebody's year.
I, I mean, I assume they thought about it first.
Yeah,
They didn't just like, close their eyes, but yes, it is a lot of pressure, but it makes me very happy that people engage with the music in that way. So,
right, right, right. That's cool. So
yeah.
it's 4 years between albums. I assume it's not going to be 4 years until the next one because you've had plenty of time to come up with stuff. What have you got in
Yeah.
mind?
I am planning on doing a remix
Uh-huh.
album of like
Right.
friends who remixed all the time. So that'll hopefully come out soon. And then, just like working on a bunch of stuff with other producer friends. And yeah, so not going to be touring anytime soon. So I'll have
That's a
lots of
shame.
time to
Have you?
work on those tracks. I know. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if New Zealand, are they like, do you think like concerts within the like more
Yeah,
local,
we're pretty much
like,
free and clear. We're a
okay,
country of 5 million, and
yeah,
we have a great leader. Her name is Jacinda. She just turned 40 the other day, and
yeah, she seems incredible. She's
yeah,
like really
yeah.
done a great
So
job.
she actually led, and so we had like 22 deaths total in the whole country, and
That's incredible.
right now we're back to living normal lives. The only thing that's abnormal is the fact that people can't come into the country. If they do, even if they're citizens, they have to go through a 2-week quarantine period.
Right.
So the big news in New Zealand is when somebody escapes from quarantine and the police have to go and get them and drag them back. It's
And
hilarious.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess people are quite adamant about tracking them down and
Oh yeah,
making, yeah,
we've got to do
yeah.
something to get all revved up about something. So that's what we do. There's not a lot of
Well,
news happening here.
I'm glad to hear that things are, yeah, back to
Yeah,
normal.
yeah,
Not completely, but as
yeah.
much
It's
as they
close.
can be.
I mean, we do miss the international acts coming in because there's only X amount of local music happening. But there's some cool stuff that I've discovered in the last few weeks that I would have never seen because I would have been going to see overseas acts as well. So it's a good thing for
Right.
everybody. But hopefully
Yeah.
you can come down and visit us sometime and do your thing. Because
I hope so.
have you ever been down to this part of the world, Australia, New Zealand? No.
I've been to Australia, but I didn't go to New Zealand.
Okay.
So I really, really hope that when next time
Alrighty. Well, I've got
Come to New
another
Zealand.
interview coming right now. Another person who can't tell time, so I better go talk to him. But thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much. It was really great talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one, Marty. Bye.
Yep.